All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to segment number 2 of the day for Engineering Major Philosophy Minor. EMPM is, of course, the channel where you can get a working aerospace engineer's opinions on topics pertaining to engineering, philosophy, politics, and various other social issues. Sometimes we combine them, sometimes we talk about economic issues, etc., etc. So in the previous video that I put up on the channel, we ripped on Joe Biden for a minute because he's basically just talking out of his ass on a bunch of stuff with regards to coronavirus plans, trying to basically just institute everything that Trump's already done. But in an attempt to be even-handed, we also need to rip on Trump for something that he said over the, I think it was like right before Christmas or something like that. And in an attempt to make this video shorter than the other videos that I've been making, I just want to jump straight to the point in Trump's speech where he says the thing that really got me going. Let me go ahead and just summarize what he says leading up to this. In the preceding 3-ish minutes of this speech, he talks about basically how the Democrats were holding up relief plans. Then he talks about how they came with relief plans that had excessive spending that had nothing to do with coronavirus. Then he talks about a lot of the excessive spending that doesn't have anything to do with coronavirus in the U.S. in the current relief bill. And then we get to the moment we are here, where I thought what Trump was going to say is he was going to say something like, what we need to do is we need to open up, and we should talk about putting together a bill that will only get provided to states that are willing to open up. We have the vaccine, we have therapeutics, we've gotten better at treating it in hospitals. We've had a lot of people that have already become infected and recovered. Basically, in a lot of places, we are probably approaching the maximum of the peak. Also in places that got hit hard early on, we're not seeing huge spikes in death, for example, in New York. Therefore, we should do the best that we can to reopen. And if we reopen and then things don't get better, then whatever the next administration is can basically implement a plan to solve the problem. But that is not what Trump said. So let's listen to what Trump said, which really just ticked me off.
I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple.
No, 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 no. There are so many issues that I have with this statement. One is, the first issue right at the onset is, no stimulus until we're opened up, right? In fact, maybe even no stimulus after that. There are those of us who have been working the whole time. It was the government that created the problem of forcing everybody out of work over something that probably wasn't going to affect the workforce too much anyway if it had just been allowed to pass through the population. We've been locked down for months and months and months. We have states such as California that aren't able to generate tax revenue. They've blown all their money on other random stuff, and now they're complaining, asking the federal government for money, and that's absolutely ridiculous. All you guys are doing with stimulus is borrowing against future generations. This is the way it is also with most big federal welfare programs and things like that. In this particular case, we have spent so much money on stimulus and stuff is still locked down and we haven't stopped the spread. So we need to completely open up. Now, the second thing that is a major issue with this statement is, then you turn on MSNBC and then you listen to Democrats talk and they're like, oh my God, look at that. Trump agreed with us that we just need to spend more taxpayer money, just giving people free money to basically sit at home and do nothing when these particular people are not at risk for death or serious complications from the coronavirus. And this is just really upsetting to me to watch these experts on MSNBC be like, well, we need to vote in the $2,000 stimulus that Trump wanted. But by the way, they're not going to take out any of the other random crap that Democrats decided to put in there, like random foreign aid for other countries and funding government institutions that don't necessarily need to be funded because they're closed anyway. So all that being said, guys, my personal opinion is that there should be no stimulus And if there is to be a stimulus, it can only be provided to states that have been willing to open up and have been willing to try and get their economy going again. What we're doing with the lockdowns is basically just destroying everything. And if we provide this additional stimulus, it's going to mess things up even further. And it's going to take like 10, maybe even 15 years to completely recover from this. So, Trump, I voted for you. I respect you. I appreciate you as a man. I appreciate all the things that you've done for the country. But on this one, you you really just had to mess things up here at the very end. Now, if Trump watches this, I know that he's just going to say, "Up yours, Alex. I'm just going to say what I want because this is what I believe in," and that's part of the reason why I like Trump, because he basically just does what he believes in. He doesn't just say whatever is convenient for him like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris do. But still, man, now they're voting on this $2,000 per person, and it's like, man, that's a lot of money per person. But even though it's a lot of money, it's still not like gonna last people a very long time. I mean, if your rent is $1,000 and you're not working, then that's only 2 months. And you've got, in the last video that I made, you got Joe Biden talking about how we're not going to have it under control until March or whatever, and then people like Bill Gates saying lockdown until 2022, and it's just like, there's no end in sight. So that's the last thing I want to mention is, if you let this stuff get through, you set the precedent that the only solution is to just have the government keep spending a bunch of all the taxpayers' money, and no one is, and at the same time letting no one produce anything throughout the nation, and it's just a very, very bad approach, in my opinion. So with that, guys, that's going to be a quick one. I'm going to conclude the video right here. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys completely disagree and think I'm off the rails, go ahead and leave a comment below. If you guys agree, also leave a comment below. I respect everyone's opinions, but my opinion on this one is no stimulus until we're opened up. And perhaps not even any stimulus then, because if we just open up, I guarantee you the economy is just going to snap back like that. So anyway, guys, peace out.